Hello and welcome to another episode of Scott Reads Comics. Today I would like to cover Spider-Man Classics #1, published in 1993 by Marvel Comics. The early 90s were a weird time for me as a comic book collector. It was sort of pre-mid-90s implosion. I had finished my undergrad in 93 and I was kicking around trying to figure out what to do next. And I wasn't frankly buying a lot of comics. I was still, I think, reading Suicide Squad at that time. I don't think it had been canceled by that point, but maybe it had just been canceled. Anyway, the existence of this comic book completely escaped my knowledge until I came across it the other day in a dollar bin here in Pittsburgh. And what this is, I didn't realize it. I could see that the Tom Lyle cover was kind of aping Amazing Fantasy 15 a little bit, but just from a different angle. But when you open up, you quickly see that this is a faithful reprint of Amazing Fantasy 15 by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And it is totally awesome. It's just a great way to consume that particular story again. If you haven't consumed it before for the first time, or if you've read it a few times as I have in various formats, this is just a neat way to do it as a single comic. What a cool idea. I don't know how long this series went. I should have really looked it up before I recorded this, but what the heck, I'll look it up and put it in the comments. But let's dive in and take a look at this. So this is the very first Spider-Man story, and I think right away, Stan Lee and the folks at Marvel kind of knew they had something here, because this is a complete departure from a lot of the other superhero stuff that was, frankly, the DC was producing at that time. Like costume heroes, confidentially, we in the comic mag business refer to them as long underwear characters. And, as you know, they're a dime a dozen. But we think you may find our Spider-Man just a bit different. So this is a totally fantastic splash page from artist Steve Ditko. We get this incredible shot of a maligned Peter Parker, bookworm, pre-transformation, and we get a presage here of what's going to be happening to our characters. We see this awesome silhouette of Spider-Man and, of course, the spider in the web there. And we see Flash Thompson and Liz and some of the other gang, the soda shop gang that Parker found he wanted to be a part of but was ostracized by. And so Lee and Ditko brilliantly develop young Peter Parker's origin here, his close relationship with his Uncle Ben, his Aunt May. We know the story. We've seen the now 3 different iterations of Spider-Man in the movies. They all sort of stick to this one way or another. Parker can't get anyone to go to the science exhibit. He goes on his own, and history, comic book history, is made. But as the experiment begins, no one notices a tiny spider descending from the ceiling on an almost invisible strand of web, a spider whom fate has given a starring, if brief, role to play in the drama we call life. Accidentally absorbing a fantastic amount of radioactivity, the dying insect, in sudden shock, bites the nearest living thing at the split second before life ebbs from its radioactive body. Ow! A spider. It bit me. But why is it burning so? Why is it glowing that way? This is absolutely crackling exposition and dialogue from Stan Lee. And of course, the Steve Ditko artwork here is just classic, timeless brilliance. What's happening to me? I feel different, as though my entire body is charged with some sort of fantastic energy. Wrapped in his thoughts, Peter doesn't hear the auto which narrowly misses him until the last instant, and then, unnoticed by the riders, he unthinkingly leaps to safety. But what a leap it is. That was one egghead who won't daydream anymore when he crosses a street. You can say that again. You can see here Peter learning quickly that he is changed. What's come over me? I'm scaling this wall just as easily as I can walk. Mommy, look at the man walking up the side of the building. That's the last horror movie I take you to, young man. It's incredible. I reached the roof in just a few seconds. What's this? Crushed the steel pipe as though it were paper. It's the spider. It has to be. Somehow, in some miraculous way, his bite has transferred his own power to me. So, of course, anyone who knows Spider-Man even a little sort of knows the rest of the tale. He wants to test his powers, and so he goes to this wrestling match, or he thinks about going to the wrestling match, but of course he has to come up with some kind of disguise because he doesn't want himself to be recognized. So, a few minutes later, I'll try for that $100, Crusher. Well, well, if it ain't a little mass marvel, step up, sucker. Now, just relax, Shorty. I'll try to make this as painless as possible. It works. I have the speed, the agility, the very strength of a gigantic spider. Hey, put me down. You win. You win. You're not human. Nobody can do that. Wanna bet? Greatest act I've ever seen. Sensational, fantastic, and that mask gimmick gives him just the right touch of mystery. He was terrific. So this shifty promoter notices as well, and he approaches Parker and basically gives him an offer to become a TV celebrity. And this is where Peter develops his web shooters with his scientific know-how, and apparently he's a fantastic seamstress as well, as he fashions his iconic costume seemingly by himself. And now we have part 2, and he appears on television, and he is high on his own celebrity. We could describe him. I'm from Life. We'll pay any price for a picture spread. Sign with me. I'll put you in the movies. Wait, we want an interview. See my agent, boys. I'm busy. Whew, rid of him at last. Hey, what's going on? Stop, thief, stop him. If he makes it to the elevator, he'll get away. Made it. So he fatefully lets the burglar escape. What's with you, mister? All you had to do was trip him or hold him for just a minute. Sorry, pal. That's your job. I'm through being pushed around by anyone. From now on, I just look out for number 1. That means me. I ought to run you in. Save your breath, buddy. I've got things to do. So, that fateful decision, we know, of course, is going to come back and haunt Peter. In the days that follow, the Spider-Man becomes the sensation of the nation. Who is the Spider-Man? And one evening, as Peter Parker returns home from a personal appearance, a police car in front of our house. What can be wrong? Bad news, son. Your uncle has been shot, murdered. Uncle Ben dead. No, it can't be. Who did it? Who shot him? It was a burglar. Your uncle surprised him. But don't worry, lad. We've got him tracked. He's in an old Acme warehouse at the waterfront. We'll get him. Your aunt is next door. The neighbors are looking after her. Wait. I've got to go. I've got to get him. I know the old Acme warehouse. It's been deserted for years. A killer could hold off an army in that gloomy old place. But he won't hold off Spider-Man. And Peter Parker continues his collision course with fate here. He's in there somewhere, but he'll pick us off like flies if we charge him. All I gotta do is hold him off till the moon goes down. Then I ought to be able to slip away in the dark. You'll never escape again, murderer. What the? Surprised to see me? Not half as surprised as you're going to be. Gotta get away. Gotta hide. I must be seeing things. There's no place on earth where you can hide from me. First, my web will relieve you of your gun, and then my fists will do the rest. That face, no, it can't be. It's the fugitive who ran past me, the one I didn't stop when I had the chance. I hate to do it, but we'll have to rush him now. Can't take a chance of him slipping away in the dark. Captain, look, it's him. On a spider's web? And a short distance away. My fault. All my fault. If only I had stopped him when I could. But I didn't. And now Uncle Ben is dead. And a lean, silent figure slowly fades into the gathering darkness, aware at last that in this world, with great power, there must also come great responsibility. And so a legend is born, and a new name is added to the roster of those who make the world of fantasy the most exciting realm of all. By the way, true believer, all of the captivating coloring in this issue was done by our own ever-loving Andy Anchus. Wow, okay, so that is Amazing Fantasy 15, and of course, Spider-Man would show up next in Amazing Spider-Man #1 when Marvel realized they had a bona fide hit on their hands. What else do we get in this issue? We get an amazing second dose of Lee Ditko with this incredible origin of Doctor Strange story. And I really love Steve Ditko's Doctor Strange. Probably second only to Spider-Man in terms of the Steve Ditko stuff, for me personally, that I love the most. Really cool. I love the 9-panel layouts in this story that he sticks to mostly. Here he deviates slightly from it. And it's just really brilliant artwork that Ditko brings to the table here in showing off the mystical powers on display from the various characters, Baron Mordo, Doctor Strange. And it's tremendous stuff. I'll just read the last passage here. And so it began. The days turned to weeks, to months, to years, as Doctor Strange studied the long-dead mystic arts. Slowly, he changed. Slowly, his life took on a new, deeper meaning. Slowly, he prepared himself for the epic battles ahead, the battles which could only be won by Doctor Strange, master of black magic. That later would become master of the mystic arts, but initially they were going for that black magic angle. So very cool, great representations of two classic stories, of chief among them, of course, Amazing Fantasy #1. And here's a nice reprint of the cover of Amazing Fantasy 15. And of course, like I said, Spider-Man would next appear in Amazing Spider-Man #1. And yeah, I'll have to figure out how long this reprint series went on and grab a few more issues. But this is just an example of the kind of cool stuff you can find serendipitously pawing through dollar bins. And in whatever city you're in, if you're lucky enough to have a couple of comic shops that have some cool dollar bins, take the time. It's really worth it. And it's just a great way to spend a couple of hours if you're a comic book fan. I do hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe. Tell your friends, and I'll bring you more soon on Scott Reads Comics. Thanks for watching.